and Bobo Show, a healthy scratch podcast. Here's your hosts, Kyle Busch and Brian Rager.
Welcome back to episode 2, Buschy and Bobo. Buschy and Bobo podcast. So last time we talked a lot of kind of what we were going to be doing on the site and in the podcast and what we've done in the past and all that stuff. And it was a lot of fun. And like we said, we were just going to kind of do these podcasts and posts whenever we wanted to. So I remember you said right after the first one, you're like, should we do another one tomorrow? And I'm like, I mean,
yeah, why not?
It was fun. I don't know what we were going to talk about, but
that's why I think we made the smart decision on waiting a week here and going from there. We got some things that we both messaged each other about over the week too that we wanted to talk about. So
I think that's just how we'll do it if we have enough stuff to talk about. Because I mean, you get like 4 or 5 talking points. Like we don't want to talk for 5 hours on a podcast. Like God, no. The last one that we did that was an hour. I was actually
it didn't seem like it. Yeah, it didn't seem like it.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it a few times on the way to work, like on the way home. And it's funny because there's times where I was making myself laugh, like just remembering what we were talking about.
And it's funny, like you said, we went through it. I've had like some friends listen to it and whatnot, and they're going to be listening to it again once it drops. And they said it was a couple of guys aren't even hockey guys, but they said, you know what, just the chemistry we have there and some of the jokes that we're cracking. And the logo debacle is one thing that's a good time. It was something that I know Lou texts me, and I know you're like an Office fan. So I understood this reference right away because I'm a huge Office fan. And he goes, I would never say this to your face, but you guys are great podcast hosts. I'm like, why would you say it to my face? Because, you know, in the Office, they do that joke. Anyway, what we were going to talk about first was actually, it was last weekend, right? That the Lake Tahoe games, the outdoor games, which looked phenomenal. Like when I was looking at that, amazing. Oh my God! Without fans in the mountains and the trees and all, it was a really cool backdrop.
Yeah, but it was awesome. One thing that I'll say about just not even about the game though, because the one that we're talking about is the Avalanche and Golden Knights played the first game, and then the Flyers played the Bruins. That was a blowout. I didn't even watch that one, to be really honest. Either. Okay, huge missed opportunity for the Avalanche. You know what I'm going to talk about? Okay, they wore their reverse retro jersey.
Yeah,
arguably one of the best in the league.
My favorite.
I don't really care about the Avalanche anymore. I used to hate their guts because I'm a Wings fan, right? But now, like, whatever. But they wore the Nordiques one.
Yeah.
But their other jerseys, their regular jersey, even the Rockies one that they have.
Yeah, that Rockies inspired C1.
Okay. Yeah. Did you see in the background behind the lake how many fucking mountains there were with snow on them?
Yeah.
Why aren't you wearing the one with the Avalanche A with the snow coming down?
With the mountains.
What a missed opportunity. They blew it.
Yeah, you know what? It's something I didn't even think about that. It's something they could have,
They're literally playing their logos behind them multiple times. There's mountains everywhere.
But I understand they want to, Adidas, the NHL want to pump out these new jerseys, right? So
I know we didn't have this on the show sheet, but like there's like one team that hasn't wore their reverse retro yet.
Yeah, I wonder what team that is. The team with the practice jersey?
Walmart brand jersey? Yeah. The Red Wings. Yeah, they even said they're like, oh, it's finally on sale. Like, for who's going to buy that?
I was in National Sports the other day, and they have a couple of them there.
Rest in peace, National Sports.
Yeah, rip. I think they're actually supposed to close out in June or July, I think I read.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm in the store there, and I see this jersey, this reverse retro, and it's so ugly. Like
the Red Wings one is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I think we implied it.
Red Wings reverse retro. It's the worst jersey that they have in the NHL.
I have a theory about a lot of these like special jerseys that teams have, because the Red Wings really don't do third jerseys ever. Like they have their red, they got their white. It hasn't changed in forever. I like that.
It's tradition. Yeah, it's tradition.
And it's a cool jersey and it's simple. But when there's a Winter Classic or Centennial Classic or whatever, even like alumni games, they'll have different looking ones. they've had really cool ones in the past. Like they had the first one that they were in 2009 against the Blackhawks at Wrigley. They had the English
jersey
D on it with there were some stripes. Then the second one that I really liked was, I think, 2014 or 15. It was when Alfredson was on the team. They played at the Big House.
Yeah,
they had the red with the off-white.
With the Detroit over it with the
little logo. Yeah, the little Red Wing logo. So those were like, in the font on the back was cool for the numbers and all that stuff. Nice. For some reason, the captain patch was on the arm. So they've done really good ones in the past. But then you look. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say even the stadium series. I don't know if that's where you were going to go into.
No, but I
was not a fan of that jersey. But I've grown to like that logo as consider, like, I know that we're going to sort of go into it, but Stadium Series has a different thing. Look on the leagues and sort of more modernizing it. Yeah. It was a nice take on it. It still had that Red Wings appeal, that Red Wings vibe to it.
You know what it was? It was just Red Wings are so used to having just the winged wheel, and that's it. And the only other thing that you've really seen is the English D, which is that's Detroit. People like that, and then also the barbershop.
Detroit across the.
I mean, really, if you wanted to do something neat, I mean, you look at some of these teams that, like Colorado with the Nordiques, even the Minnesota Wild one with the North Stars colors. Yeah. Arizona with their old Kachina logo, style, but it's purple and the cactuses on the bottom. Those jerseys, that jersey for sure was
the Ducks.
Not really liked back in. Oh, that's the worst jersey of all time. The Wild Wing jersey. I think you ranked that on your thing.
I swore I had the worst one was that Blues one that never came in the picture.
Well, that one was bad with the Trump.
But that Ducks one, Ducks one though was.
And there's so many where I went, oh, if they would have just done like with the Ducks one, for some reason. So they took that 1992 alternate one. If you don't know what we're talking about, it's their mascot Wild Wing, like jumping out of the ice,
coming out of the ice like
so that. It's not even a logo, it's just part of the jersey. The font is really weird, and it does look hilarious. That was the era where most jerseys, that was called dye sublimation jerseys, where they would, there was no stitching on it. They'd run it through basically like a printing press, so they could do all these weird gradients, like the Canucks with the weird like color transition one, which they have as their
the Kings one with that, like that
the Burger
sash
King
with
logo.
The Burger King logo on there, and
so that was all dye sublimated. So teams were trying to screw around with that. That's the same thing with Phoenix, where they had the because we're called Phoenix back in the day, the cactuses on the bottom and all that. Yeah, I know, right? You're older than me.
No, it's that Phoenix.
You're an 80s kid. I'm a 90s kid.
That Phoenix jersey, Arizona jersey, whatever you want to call it now, like the original one from back in the day, like that dark green. It was the dark green jersey, mm-hmm. And then like the fact that they brought that back as the reverse retro was
with the purple is kind of neat.
Was the purple? Yeah, it's a nice take on it. I thought Tampa should have went with that lightning bolt one, and
they could have. Yeah. I like how they did. They took their 2004 and went, okay, that's where we won the cup. And that's what Detroit did.
It makes sense.
So do you know because every team had like a year that they were doing the reverse retro. It says it on the inside of the collar.
On the inside of the collar, on the back of the
collar. So the Canucks is probably what, like 2004?
Four, I want to say.
Like the Bertuzzi, Naslin, Morrison years, whatever.
The West Coast Express line. And
mm-hmm. You know what Detroit's was? What year?
1911.
No. No, are you joking?
I have no clue.
Okay, 1998.
Oh yeah, yes, I did. You know what? Now that you're saying that, I did. Because they went back to back then, right? So
yes. So 1998. Now they just took what they should have done is they should have taken. Okay, if you want to do 1998, fine. Just flip the colors. And I know people are going to go, well, that's just their away jersey then. Yeah, but if you look at a Red Wings jersey closely, their sleeves are always the same colors.
It's the Red Wings.
Right. So there's always red on the sleeve. There's a white band around the forearm. They could have done it where it was the complete opposite of that. Maybe
white sleeve, red band.
So it's kind of what they
silver.
did. I don't know. And
because it's the Stanley Cup.
Like changed, even the logo looks. I don't even think it looks slightly different back then, but they could have done something a little bit different with the logo, so it's not just
almost like
that
that inverted logo, like what you see sometimes. Like I think the top of the wheel is more red, and the bottom.
It's kind of rounded a bit.
Where you could like switch it around.
Yes. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That logo is cool. If you take the Red Wings logo,
I'm gonna try to pull it up.
And you try to flip it, you invert the colors on it. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, that would look so cool. And they've never done it.
Seen it. Well, I think they have. Like in the past, like they haven't done it in forever.
Like, what do I even type in? Like inverted Red Wings logo. Like
go to sportslogos.net.
Oh, you know what? I found it right here. See that? That's the one. Yeah. So if they would have done that, you can see it's just the complete opposite.
It's the exact opposite. Yeah. It's a 180 on it. And
so, and really all they had to do to make people really like it, if you recall, 1998, that was in between the year that Konstantinov thing happened with the limo accident, and they had the patch that said like "believe" and all that. That's all they had to do. Smack it on there.
If they put,
I would have got one.
A nice tribute.
Nice. But they just were like that. It was almost like everybody turned in their book report, but the Red Wings forgot about it, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Like the morning of, they're like, "Okay, we got a jersey. Let's put our logo on it and then put a stripe at the bottom." And we'll say it's from 98. It's horrible. So my thing is, I think they actually give the bad teams like the bad jerseys. Because remember when Buffalo was horrible and they got that really ugly gray looking gross jersey?
Or the one where it had like the blue and then the yellow back or whatever, or yellow.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, it's gross. So anyway, we kind of digressed a little bit. We went on a tangent of logos and jerseys and stuff. But the Lake Tahoe game.
Lake Tahoe. They said the setting was beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that a missed opportunity for Colorado? Possibly, but
maybe.
It's the biggest miss of that was the big delay there.
Yeah, and so what happened was the ice was just horrendous. So they played the first period, and there are replays of like referees and players like tripping, like falling down in between plays, or they're toe picking, and
looked like Hursty on Sunday.
Yeah. And so like that, I mean, it is dangerous. Like looking at the replays, that those were some gashes in the ice where like, if we play pond hockey, it's like, yeah, man, watch out. But these guys are playing at a high level. They're flying out there. If you just stop and you hit a rut, like there goes your ankle. You're done. Like you're snapping your ankle. So they did the right thing in like delaying the game, because they worked for like 45 minutes at one point in between the first and second period to try to make it good, and it just didn't work. So they delayed it to like midnight.
Midnight Eastern, which would be like what, 9 o'clock, 8 or Pacific, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
which is still late, but and they got the game done, and I guess the ice was way better at night. And the problem was, and I don't know if you know this part of it, but the reason and the spots that were actually really bad were over top of like logos, the red line, the blue line, because the sunlight was hitting them. Yeah, sunlight was hitting them way more, so it was actually causing it to melt quicker than just where the white was.
Than rather.
But again, it was still they said that was the most challenge that they had with any outdoor game from the very first one to now. And what I was saying to you was arguably the worst conditions other than that was the first one with Buffalo and Pittsburgh. The snow was insane. I remember that was the one where Crosby scored.
That's not necessarily like when we were talking about it beforehand. I don't see that necessarily more as an ice condition. That's just, okay, you got to have, there's more delays, and you're not necessarily delaying the game hours because of it. It's okay, you got to have more stops to shovel.
But that affected the product on the ice.
Which is, it's true. Any momentum, you said.
Go watch Crosby's shootout goal. Look at how much freaking snow is on the ice. When he's stick handling and shooting, it's like he's literally a tabletop hockey player, like pushing it towards the goalie, and then he like does a quick move. I don't know how
using a shovel, pretty much.
I was gonna say I don't know how he did that. He's one of the best players in the league, but like still, that's way tougher than just coming in on a flat sheet ice. Like, but because you were saying that was like, I don't want to say embarrassing for the league, but you were.
I would say no. It's just like just as a fan, I'm watching the game, right, and then I'm like, all right, fuck. Like now I gotta wait till midnight to watch it. No, not happening.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'm like, all right, some of these places, you said you had guys out, like we were saying before, guys out there on jet skis, t-shirt and shorts or pants or whatever, and it's a warm climate. Come on, NHL. Like, I know you have the machines and the technology to, like, you've done it before in some of these other places, which I've told you I'm not a big fan of, but that's something that we'll sort of get into.
Right. Because they've done games in LA. They've done
Dodger
games
Stadium
in Dallas, like they last year, Cotton Bowl. So they've done it. So I don't think it's something that's really like.
I don't think it's necessarily ice. I think it's more the climate.
It's the weather.
Yeah.
You can't control it. So, I think they have measures to try to make it as good as they can. Obviously, this was like, oh my God, it is sunny as hell. Like, even if there was cloud cover, it probably would have been a lot better. But it was just sun was out and it was hitting the ice, making it shitty. But like a lot of those games went off without a hitch. I mean, there was a few, even there was one game, and I remember Bruce Boudreau talking about it, the Capitals coach at the time, where it was raining. And I think they were playing Pittsburgh because that's I think it's where Tom Wilson elbowed Crosby in the back of the head and gave him the one concussion. And anyway, but Bruce Boudreau, like, there's a funny story where he didn't realize it was raining because he was so into the game. Yeah. But it was like there was water all over the ice, and they had to like squeegee it like every stoppage and play. Not every stoppage, but every commercial break. But they still got the game done, and it wasn't a problem. Where this really was. So the
location then on that as well too, right? Like, it might be raining, but if you're playing in Pittsburgh or Washington there, it's going to should be colder than it would have been at Tahoe. So, but
then my argument is they've done it in LA and Dallas. So
true.
Like
it's Mother Nature. When it comes down to it, it's Mother Nature. It's something I know.
And the thing too is, because you were saying to me, we were texting back and forth about it, and you were like, "Oh, I just want to see is it a fad? I just want to see an original 6 matchup or something, right? Like, I want to," and I'm like, "Why? We've seen that so many freaking times already. How many times has Chicago been in a game like that? How many times has Detroit been in a game? The Rangers, the Flyers, the Bruins, the Penguins, Capitals. It's always the same teams."
That's one thing when we were talking too, like when I said that, and then been doing some thinking about that and going back and forth. It is true. I said, okay, I want to see like original or classic hockey markets but it's true. Cause I remember, I forget when it was, maybe 7-8 years ago when Chicago got another outdoor game. And I think I went on Facebook. I'm like, really? Another Chicago game, blah, blah, blah.
And that's a joke now. It's like, there's going to be one next year where it's like the Monstars versus like the Blackhawks. They're always playing the same freaking team, right? It could be anybody. It's for ratings for TV. Obviously,
it is. They're going to pick the high market teams there,
right? Because they know that Chicago, Detroit, New York, Philly, Pittsburgh, Washington, they're all going to draw a crowd. Boston, they're all going to draw people to it because original 6, and I know who these teams are. If it's like, hey, Minnesota, Nashville, like the average fan's going to go, who?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Like, we do, but they don't. So that's why I think they created Stadium Series.
And that's the one thing I was sort of going to get into, because one thing when I texted you that, I'm like, I don't want to see Florida play in a Winter Classic or whatnot. But that's
I do.
I'd rather see them in a Stadium Series because they're more of a modern team. For me, when it came down to it, I sort of honestly like these not original, like not just the original 6, but like that 60s or 70s expansion, second wave expansion.
You could even do something kind of neat. You could call it like the expansion series.
Yeah.
Because there was times where like teams were coming in at the same time. You could have like Minnesota play Columbus. You could have Nashville play. Well, it was Atlanta, but Winnipeg, right?
We had Winnipeg play.
Florida playing Anaheim.
Yeah.
Ottawa playing Tampa Bay.
San Jose or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So like whenever you could do that too to get them involved in it. But again, they have to always have one big draw, because you can't just have 2 teams that have no market.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to see Arizona play Florida. It's never going to happen. You're going to have, if Arizona wants to play, you're going to have another team. You're going to be playing a team that's going to have some draw to it.
Play not really right now Chicago, but like you're going to play like a Pittsburgh, or you're going to play a high market team.
Now, and that's something, again, we weren't really planning on talking about this. That's the problem that the NHL is having, is they have like a marketing problem where they I can talk to people and say the name Connor McDavid, the name Nathan McKinnon, and Leon Draisaitl. They don't know who they are. They're like, who? I'm like, are you serious? You don't know who Connor McDavid is.
Is that the grocery store? Is that the guy that collects carts at Walmart?
Not even a little bit. I mean, if he does it really fast, maybe he's related. But like, that's the problem is they have when you don't know, like if you say any type of sport, Patrick Mahomes, everybody knows Patrick Mahomes,
Kansas
right?
City Chiefs,
Tom Brady, like
Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. You
LeBron
think about
LeBron
James and all these guys.
Like Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. I'm not a big basketball fan. I know who those guys are. But when you go to hockey for someone that's fair weather,
Austin Matthews,
they might go, I don't know who that is. It's like, dude, this guy was, you could probably ask someone from Arizona, Austin Matthews. They'll go, who?
And they'll go, huh?
Oh, he was born here and he's one of the best players in the NHL. Like he plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't care. So it's a marketing thing. Like that's why there's this thing where it's like, okay, if we do a game like that, we have the matchup where we're worried about people watching it. So our TV ratings. And then there's the marketing of, well, what players are on these teams?
Yeah.
Where it's like, they won't put Edmonton in a Winter Classic because it's a Canadian team and it's not going to draw American views. That's why
they're going to have that Heritage Classic for the Canadians. But
they know that Canadians are going to watch that. They're going to watch the game no matter what, no matter who's playing.
Yeah, it's true. We will.
Like the Lake Tahoe, there was no Canadian team in it.
No.
I guarantee you they got a ton of views from Canada, right? It's the American side where they're trying to get them to watch it. And it's like, they're not counting on us. So they go, why would I show Edmonton? You know why? Because they have two of the best players in the game and you need to showcase them. You need to, hey, holy crap, look at this Connor McDavid kid. He's incredible.
Do you
and then
think
people go,
too,
oh, I want to watch this guy. He's really good. Hockey's cool,
think
whatever.
Too, because of going into Edmonton specifically here, they have two of the best players in the game right now. Mm-hmm. There's been no real success in Edmonton either.
I don't care.
Is that I know you you don't care, but do you think that as part of like the NHL, like say, okay, that's why we won't put Edmonton necessarily in a game against whoever, Chicago or Boston or whatnot.
If they're really thinking that, then they're stupid. They're stupid. It's like when you go to the grocery store, you put your best apples right at the front.
Absolutely.
Right? And you go, here's all the good shit, and then all the stuff kind of that's okay is in the back, right? Here's all our good stuff. Because that's what people are going to see first.
If that's how the NHL, like I said, if the NHL is thinking, oh, we're not going to show them because it's a Canadian team and they haven't had success, so people don't really care about Edmonton as much. If that's the way they are thinking, that's like I said, it's absolutely stupid of them. But
yeah, but that's what they need to
in the words of Lindy Ruff, it's a joke.
It's a joke. But yeah, that's something that they need to figure that out. So they need to get like more teams involved. But I think about the players involved, because in situations like Pittsburgh, Washington, you got Crosby, you got Ovechkin, like they have really good players. Yeah. And most teams have a guy, right? But you need that to be marketed. Like that's the thing is like, can you imagine McDavid if he was in like LA? Like, you know what I mean? That they'd be in every Winter Classic ever because, oh my God, the best player in the league is on an American team.
It's like when Gretzky got traded to LA.
Like any really good player, exactly. Any good player that's on a Canadian team, it's almost like who gives a shit.
Yeah,
you can rattle them off the list and go, yeah, but they're not going to be in one. But they should.
The only
Austin
team
Matthews is American. Put him in there.
And that's where I think where Toronto that's where we're sort of going to get to. I think that's where Austin Matthews and Toronto sort of, since they have that American player on a Canadian team, it's an original six team. It's one of the highest value teams in the NHL.
Yeah, and they're good. Put them in a game.
Toronto will sort of have that, I think, advantage over in Edmonton, even though they have two of the best players in the league. But
that's where something
not necessarily a higher market compared to a Toronto. More Americans will know Toronto as a team than Edmonton.
I don't know. It's just they need to figure that out. It's like I said, marketing and just getting the right teams involved and trying to go through it where it's not the same teams every time. I think it's cool. I like the outdoor element. I think the players like it too. I'm sure there's probably some that don't, where they're like, this is my job. I just want to do this. But like, the outdoor games are interesting, and I do like watching them. I don't think that novelty will ever wear off for me. I don't know about you.
That's true. That's why I know the one thing when I was texting you originally, I'm like, this is like, come on, this is, it's sort of something where you keep going, but you made that counterpoint where, hey, when you watch these games, they're sold out. These are football stadiums, baseball stadiums that are sold out.
Conbowl was sold out.
Yeah,
Corey Perry had to walk from the middle of the freaking field all the way down,
like 10 seconds into the game.
Yeah. See you later. It took them like an hour to get to the dressing room. But yeah, there was so many people there, so they're selling them out.
So it's nothing that I think it's more just frustration at when I messaged you originally, the frustration that why is there an hour and it's nothing that it's not the NHL's fault. It's weather. It
was the right thing to do though.
It was. When it comes down to it, that was the right thing to do.
The easiest thing that they had is there was no fans there. So it was easy for them to just go, okay, we're just going to move it. If they had fans there, then that's a problem. Because they now what? You're going to tell them, okay, come back at midnight. It's like, I got a flight tonight, man. I got to leave. Like you got to
wait here all day. And but the one thing I think we'll both agree on with Lake Tahoe is that with no fans, like I loved watching it. If you put fans there, you're not going to be able to see the mountains and the trees in the background, and that made that one. Yeah, that made that game pretty cool to see. Well, the period at least I saw.
So kind of moving on, another thing that happened in the last week was Mike Babcock got hired, and apparently it's a volunteer position with the University of Saskatchewan. Yeah, like I don't think he's getting paid. Although the Leafs are still paying him for I don't know how many more years and a lot of money.
He's getting paid.
He's not a poor man, right?
Coach college.
So there's a lot of opinions out there and about him, because if people don't know, there's a lot of controversy with Mike Babcock, and we have 5 of them pulled up right now. So if you have more than one, that's a pattern in my opinion. So the first one, that's something that Babcock was the coach of the Wings from 2006 until I want to say 2015. It was almost 10 years. And it was
506 to 2014, 2015.
Yeah. And at the time, it was time for him to go. And I actually really wanted Jeff Blashill in there, and now I want him out. But it was time for a new voice, because even guys like Henrik Zetterberg were kind of hinting like, the voice got stale. Like we were just tired of it. Like we need to get someone else in here.
It's that new regime, right? Like you have some of these guys that he was coaching with in the earlier days. They're gone. It's those new guys that are coming up from Grand Rapids where Blashill was coaching. So now the first one we'll talk about is Chris Chelios went on Spit and Chicklets a while ago, and he talked about this whole thing when Babcock got fired and all these stories were coming out, which is interesting that they came out after. But I mean, it's probably just players not wanting to lose their job type. Yeah, exactly, right, to be like a whistleblower. I don't think Chris Chelios gives a fuck, which I love Chelly. Like I've met him a few times at Chelly's, which it's not a thing anymore, but he's a cool dude. He just gives you some knuckles. The tanning salon.
Loves the tanning bed. So this whole Johan Franzen thing. So Chris Chelios went on and was asked about, about Babcock. And I mean, it's something where, and I got a few of the quotes here. So one where Chelios goes, it got to the point with poor Johan, no one really knew what he was suffering with the concussion thing, depression. He just broke down. He had a nervous breakdown, not only on the bench, but in one of the rooms after the game. It's probably the worst I've ever seen. So that's not good. And then Franzen recalls that same event, and they said it was in Nashville in one of the first round losses that they had. He said, I get shivers when I think about it. Yeah, that was against Nashville in the playoffs. It was rough, nasty, and shocking, but that was just one of the 100 things he did. The tip of the iceberg. I didn't read that. That's new. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, I got those exact same quotes up here, and it's like,
yeah. Listen to this. How would you describe Babcock as a coach in person? As a coach, he is extremely accurate and prepared. This is Franzen.
Yeah.
He is great at putting together a playing system and getting everybody to buy into it. That's his strong side. But then he's a terrible man, the worst person I've ever met. A bully who had a go at people. It could be the cleaners in the Detroit arena or anyone. He jumped on people just because. And then they ask him when it started.
When it started.
He was on a couple of other players before, the good team players, those who don't say that much. When they left, that energy passed to me, and then I had to take a turn. It was verbal attacks, terrible things he said. And he said, from 2011, I was terrified of being in the arena. This guy's making like $6 million.
Yeah.
I just focused on getting up in the mornings. It was, then that he had to go at me the first time. And last year was the first time.
Pause that thought for 1 second. I'm going back to the quote here where he said, as the good team players, like those who don't say much, when they left, that energy got past me. So was Johan Franzen calling himself a good player?
He was.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Dude, Johan Franzen was like one of their better guys. He's the reason they won in 08, man. Like, he was a stud. The mule, man.
Johan Franzen, like the last few years before he was like, I'm thinking
that was the concussions, man, and all this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
it gets to him, right? It all gets to him there.
You have this stuff all up here. It's like, now what? Now you're in your own head. How do you play? I remember watching that game against San Jose in the playoffs where he scored 4 goals. Remember that? Do you remember that at all? It was awesome. No. And I mean, Chris Cuthbert was calling the game, which he's my favorite. And he scored 4 in the first period in like 7 minutes. One of them, technically, the first one, it hit Todd Bertuzzi's leg and went in. So that wasn't his goal. He scored a 4th one in the 3rd period. And there was a quote from Ray Ferraro when Franzen scores like his 2nd or 3rd. And he said, he's not going to be in Mike Babcock's doghouse anymore. But maybe he still is. So, yeah, he said, it was only his verbal attacks that played out. Yeah. I got good help with these obsessions for 3 weeks at a center in Colorado last year. It was me and a group of veterans from the military who suffered from concussions and PTSD. So he says he's a specialist in managing the media. We're going to talk about that, what he's doing right now. He creates teams that are difficult to beat. You can't take that away from him, but he makes his players very anxious. They're terrified of making mistakes. His team rarely makes it past the first round. And I agree with that. And he says, he's like, I'm sure he's going to get a new job, but hopefully his behavior can calm down so it affects less in the future. So that was the Chris Chelios thing, talking about Franzen. Now, that's something that's, when you talk about like the mental health part of it, people go, Franzen's just soft. I'm like, the guy's nickname is the Mule. He was a workhorse. He's 6'5". Like, he's a beast, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you were on the ice. It's like, you can't treat a player like that. And I mean, that's maybe really old school, because I'm sure there's things back in the day where you would just go, holy shit, that would not fly now. But this shouldn't have flown 10 years ago. I don't know about that. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff that's actually a little more recent. The Mitch Marner incident, we've seen that. So what happened is in Marner's rookie season, think about this. He's like a really good player too. They made him like write a list, or Babcock made him write a list and rank his teammates on like in order of work effort, or like work ethic. Sorry. And apparently the 2 guys at the bottom was Nazem Kadri and Tyler Bozak. But so he did that for whatever reason. And then he told the players that Marner had ranked them and that they were at the bottom. And the players were like, what are you making him do that for? What's the point? So like, apparently like it was something where he was frustrated with Marner for his like laziness in the first half of his rookie season. And he just did what he was told. So anyway, it's really weird. So like, apparently he was like in tears, right? And the players are like, they were pissed. Like, why would you do it to this kid? Yeah. You're just fucking with him. Like, anyway, I guess, and it says here too that when he was with the Red Wings, he did the same thing. But that's again not right. I mean, when you're the whole team, all the players go, wait a minute, what are you doing? So. Well, I mean, that's probably not too good either. You get in someone's head like that.
No. Then there are the other things that like you said, you had those incidences there. I know the other one we were talking about earlier was scratching veterans and all that.
Yeah, and there's 2. The 2 that pop out was Jason Spezza, Mike Modano.
On opening day, yeah. Spezza on opening night.
Mike Modano ended his career with 1,499 games played. and he could have played one of the last 4 or 5 games and he was a healthy scratch every single time. And it's one of those things where I look at that and I go, seems pretty calculated to me. When players milestones are coming, like as a coach, I feel like you probably should know, because that's a positive thing. Like, why wouldn't you want that in your room? Like, hey, this guy, 1,500 games, that's incredible. Let him play, right? What a special thing.
Especially like Madonna, like he knew he was finishing his career, all that. And
well, like even in that, I didn't really remember who was on the team in 2012 that was on the 4th line. And I know Madonna was 40 and he was hurt all year, but he's a veteran guy. You couldn't put him in for one game for like Corey Emerton. Like, what's the difference? Let him play. Same thing with Spezza. Like, oh, I'm going to ice the best team I can. I get that, but there's nothing to be gained by pissing off a player, and like it's going to get out. Like, people are going to notice and go, oh, what a douchebag move, right? So because even like, looking at this, Jeff O'Neill goes like, I think it's a joke. Spezza signs for peanuts, and then, he's from Toronto. He came here to play here. His family's probably like, oh, we're going to go to the game. Oh, he's a scratch. How embarrassing, right? So, and then, the Madonna thing was, I don't really remember it too much at the time. I don't know if I was just too young to really remember that. But, and then the last thing we'll talk about with this is the Mike Commodore thing. Now, he is very venomous against Mike Babcock.
He is.
I mean, everything that they talks about, it'll end with like, Babs is a piece of shit. So
it's just like, hashtag Babs is a piece of shit or whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever heard this story. So he goes, did I have a good career? Yeah. Have I done more than people have expected? Sure. I'm happy. Am I happy with how it ended? No. I'm very disappointed how the last 3 years ended. I'm not even going to count last year. So he was with Columbus, and then he went his year in Detroit. I feel I was treated piss poor. Anyway, there was a bunch of stuff about the Blue Jackets. So after he got bought out by Columbus, you kind of go like, can I even come back from this? Is my career over? Right. Yeah. And I guess like July 1st, he's like, you get bought out July 1st. You didn't think you get a contract. 15 minutes into free agency, his agent calls and goes, Detroit's here calling, offered you a contract. He already at that point had a bad history with Mike Babcock from Anaheim, and then apparently in the minors too, where he would just always like scratch him, send him down, wouldn't play him. And he's like, I didn't want to have anything to do with him. He tried and succeeded in bearing me the minors in my 3rd pro year. I got out of it. He wanted nothing to do with them. They offered him 1 year, $1 million. He goes, my gut was screaming, don't take it. You've got one chance. If it doesn't go well, you're done in the NHL. And he goes, I don't want to play in Detroit for Babcock. I don't trust him. Call him back and tell him, thank you. We'll get back to you. And then apparently Ken Holland put a 15-minute time limit on the offer. And he goes, you got to make it up in 15 minutes. Like, how are you going to do that? So he called Ken Holland and he goes, hey, Mike Commodore here. I like you. You're a good guy. Is it you who wants me or the coach? And Ken Holland said that he wanted him, and so did Babcock. So, he's like, oh, I'd love to play for Ken. I would love to play for the Red Wings, but he doesn't trust the coach from previous experience. So he's like, he called Babcock, 10 minutes left, right? He goes, Babs, be honest with me. Do you want me on your hockey team or not? He said he did. I wanted to know if I'd get an opportunity. He told him like, not looking for anything special, but you needed to know that he's going to get a fair shot.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be buried.
Here's what Babcock says: I want you on my team. You will get a fair chance. And this is all Commodore saying this. You have to take on his word. We need someone physical in the back end with the right shot. I want you. You will play. Again, gut's still saying, don't do it, right? Yep. But he did, and so he said he went to camp, got scratched. He injured his knee a little bit, but because he was thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be playing with like Nick Lidstrom, because back the Red Wings had no right-handed shots. Commodore was one. Maybe he could have played there, right? So, but yeah, he was never playing. He'd go on with the 4th line. So, yeah. Anyway, it was just something where he said he just buried him after telling him, "Oh, you'll get an opportunity. You'll play." But Mike Babcock, like, should he get the opportunity? Like, I know he's going to coach with Saskatchewan here, but after hearing all of that, is it worth it?
It's something that, okay, after he got fired after the Leafs let him go, he went to Vermont, right, as a volunteer coach. Haven't really heard much. I don't know how Vermont hockey is.
He was working for NBC.
Yeah, NBC, but he was also doing volunteer stuff there with Vermont's hockey team.
You know what all that is? It's like the image rehabilitation tour. And then Pierre LeBrun put out a piece where I was like, really, man, you're going to like, why are you even giving this guy the light of day? And he's playing the victim. He's playing the victim card, which is like, bro, like, I know you want to try to defend yourself, but just the best thing for him to do, just own up to it and say, you know what? Yeah. Like a lot of this stuff, maybe it's not as venomous as you think. Maybe he's trying to teach these guys something, but it's just a really like fucked up way of doing it. Like we're getting into someone's head like that is probably not the best way to do it in a negative way, because he's using more negative reinforcement than positive. I think positive is always going to trump negative, right?
Which I'm hoping that, and I'm thinking that will he get a chance in the NHL? Like he interviewed for the Washington job a couple of years, last year, 2 years ago. Maybe this is time in college, whether it's his time at Vermont, his time away from the game for a bit, and this opportunity here with Saskatchewan for a while. Hopefully it sort of brings him back down to earth. Obviously the way he approached things with friends and their obviously like mental health and all that, wasn't as not mainstream, but there wasn't as much awareness as there is nowadays. Obviously NHL is doing try to get like they're putting their names out there and all that.
I'm going to do something fun with you here.
All right.
Okay. And you have to answer this just split second. It's a yes or no. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Travis Green is it Travis Green that's the coach of the
Travis Green? Yep.
Travis Green gets fired. Are you hiring Mike Babcock?
No.
Okay. So that's what I mean. Why not?
I don't think he would fit that style. Like because Babcock is an old school style coach. From what I've seen, from what I've read, everything from has he had success with it? Yes. Has he adapted? Because I look at this.
There's two different things. There's the hockey part, and then there's the I'm an idiot part. Like, can you get rid of this and just focus on this stuff, man?
And that's what I think. That's what I'm wondering. What he has done in the last few years, or last 2-3 years, whatever it is, being away from the game, sort of trying to shed, like I said, repair that image and just focus more on the hockey side of things. So if he can do that, I think he has a chance to become a coach again in the NHL.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of hoping no. And it's maybe not even specifically him. I just hate the coaching carousel. I just like, you can't find anyone that's good in the minors or like that's up and coming. You always got to go back to like Lindy Ruff is on this team now. Yeah. And then Ken Hitchcock went here. And then like, oh, Bruce Boudreau is over. It's like, okay, like it's just you're just firing them all over the place. Let's
Mark Crawford is so and so. And
looking at Babcock's coaching stats,
yep,
I can argue that the Red Wings won the Cup in 2008, maybe in spite of him. They should have won in 2007. Anaheim won, and then they lost to the Penguins in Game 7 the next year. So they were 3 years in a row. They could have had it. Now his first year, they had 58 wins in the regular season, lost to the Oilers. Remember? They lost in the first round of the 8th seed. So now, other than winning the Cup, getting to the finals the 1 year, everything went downhill after that. And I'm including Toronto. And here's the thing.
Yeah, understandable.
It's one of those things where I was going to say, I don't give a shit about what you did in the regular season, but in this argument, I do. This guy's regular season record, he's 700 wins, 418 losses. Okay.
Yep.
And he, and 164 OT losses. So you're going to point in that let's see. I don't think he's ever been under 500 as a coach in the NHL. Never. But yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
First year in Toronto.
Oh, I lied. Okay. One of them, they missed the playoffs. Oh, and then there's one in Anaheim. So
second year at Anaheim.
I'm saying most of the years, right?
Yeah.
Because they made the Cup Finals in Anaheim. Then they shouldn't have either. And I mean, they beat the Red Wings too in the first round. So he went, conference finals, won the Cup, Stanley Cup Finals, lost in the semis badly to the Sharks, lost in 5 in the conference quarters to Nashville, lost in conference semis to Chicago. That year was the lockout shortened season. Detroit actually wasn't too bad. lost in the first round of Boston, lost in the first round of Tampa Bay, fired. Well, not fired. He went to Toronto.
Went to Toronto.
First year, Toronto missed playoffs. Lost in first round, lost in first round, lost in first round. Went 9-10,
Fired.
canned. Dude, like this guy doesn't win. And now people are gonna go, oh, he won 2 Olympic championships, like gold medals. I can coach that team. It's not hard. You got Carey Price in net. You got all these guys on D. You got all guys scoring goals all over the place up front.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention, like the Olympics, but at the same time, it's true that you're getting your best players like your country. You have you have like Eisman as the GM there and putting together this squad. So you could have you behind the bench, and they would and you'd get a.
I don't think it holds.
So the Olympic, yeah, I don't hold that much on the Olympics. I think
I look at the playoffs and I go, yeah, you know what? You had so clearly looking at his record every year, those Toronto teams that he built, like which right now, I mean, yeah, he had a lot to maybe do with that, but even the Detroit teams, you had really good regular seasons, and then you just couldn't do it in the playoffs. I mean, sometimes I think that boils down to coaching, and I just wouldn't hire him. Like, I don't care what he does now. I really don't. He's going in playing the victim. Like he clearly, to me, he's not that great, because if you want to win a cup, why are you getting him? You know, and now it's kind of out there. You have this stigma about him, and some of it is just accusations and facts. Some of them. Why would you want that in your dressing room? Why would you want this guy around your young kids at all? Even your veterans, he doesn't care. And the thing that they said, that Chelio said was, you know, they asked him, did any of these team leaders speak up? Your team leader was Nick Lidstrom. You had Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg, probably like 3 of the meekest players on that team. What are they going to do? They're just going to play, and they're going to just shut up and do their thing, right? Which is what they did, and that's fine. And maybe they didn't know about that stuff, or they did, and it was just like they didn't do anything about it. So
you're saying you do not want to see Babcock back in the NHL?
No, because I think if he is, it's like whoever hires him, you're just asking for it, man. Like, I think he will? Yeah, someone will grab him, but I don't.
Would you take him on as an assistant coach?
No.
So you don't want to see him, you don't want to see him at all in the NHL. You think he will, but you don't think.
Oh yeah. Oh, he'll be back. Oh, he's doing all the right things, and that's the thing, is he, like Franzen said, he's good at managing the media.
I think,
you know, if you didn't hear from him for a year, there was a reason. He knew. He's like, oh fuck, like I screwed some shit up here, and it's all getting out now. I got to like rehab my image. So
yeah, I think if he repairs that, not necessarily repairs, if he can sort of adapt to a more modern coaching style, like I said, the mental health thing, like with Neil, with Franzen there and whatnot. If, like I said, there's a lot more. It's a lot more talk about mental health and all that, and in any sports league now, you see all these athletes coming out and raising awareness and whatnot. If Babcock can sort of change his ways about that and not be in, as reported, like as said by Chios, all these other guys, like Commodore, Franzen, if he can adapt and sort of switch and adjust, I think he has a good chance of.
I don't think people change like that, honestly. I think if you've done it in the past, that's kind of what you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
As much as I would want this guy to like figure it out and go like, okay, yeah, you can't. I'm sorry. Like if I'm not taking you on. Like I don't want this on. I don't want it. I'm not interested. Right.
When it comes down to it, I guess it's all on him, right? If he can make those adjustments, whether he does that,
someone will take him on. I guarantee it. Like someone will grab him somehow.
Will he be a candidate for Seattle?
Yeah. Wait, do they have a coach yet? No, they don't have a coach yet, do they? Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure they'll talk about it. But I mean, would you want him in a room of players? I know we looked at Vegas and they went really, really good, but like that team's not going to be good. Do you really need that negativity around your new team? I don't think that. No, I think they'll talk about it, but they won't grab him.
If he were to come back to the NHL, which I think he will, as a head coach, I think he has to come to a team with not necessarily a younger rebuilding team. It has to be a contending now team with that veteran leadership.
But then I look at his playoff record and I go, why would you want him? really. I mean, he's not getting it done. So
I always put it in the sense of the NBA. Like a good comparison for NBA would be when the Pistons won in 04.
mm-hmm.
Had Rick Carlisle, successful and all that. Then they bring in Larry Brown. He's had some success. Wasn't necessarily the greatest coach in playoffs, but it was that change. It was still that senior or that veteran coaching experience to help a team get over. So whether a team's already plateaued and they need that extra little push, and whether Babcock can do that or not,
I think at the end of the day, someone will. I don't think they should, but it always takes one. It just takes one person. So
Seattle just has a GM with Ron Francis.
Yeah. So I think we should hop into some more fun stuff here after that. But so we have a thing that I don't know, man. We used to do things. So like on our website, we have our like random player of the week. Last week it was Doug Brown. I do have an idea for who I want to do this week, where we would usually just do that. You know, sit at the bar and like you'd be like, oh, like remember this guy from like the 90s or whatever, and we just like throw a name out there and you go like, oh my God, like what's he up to? That was the reason that I wanted to do that. Now I didn't think that the first guy I picked, I'm like, oh, a guy from the Wings, you know, he was there for those 2 championships, would have such an interesting, like when I was doing the research, I was like,
his career after hockey. Yeah. Like
he's managing like a hedge fund and like he has like a company, but he also, his like father-in-law like is an NFL Hall of Famer that used to own the Giants. That guy's kids, really cool. Yeah, that guy's kids is Kate Mara and I forget.
And Rooney Mara there.
They're actresses and like they're in all these big movies and stuff. The shitty Invisible or Fantastic Four. She was in Fantastic Four as Invisible Woman, which it's a bad movie, but I'm like, wow, that's kind of neat that like, and then his son is in the NHL with Carolina in their organization, Pat Brown. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I'm like, this is kind of neat. So I didn't think we'd find that much info. I thought it would just be kind of random, like
he lives in Farmington Hills,
and that's it. But I'm like, good one to start with, but I didn't plan that. Anyway, another thing that we used to do and that I find fun is we're calling this 2 teams, 1 player. So the whole point of this is what we're going to do, like probably 3 rounds each here just for fun. I used to tell Brian, like, I could name a player that has been, if you give me 2 teams, I can give you a player that has played for both, whether it's a trade, a free agent sign, like they played 1 game for them, right? In the NHL. And we did a practice one last week.
Sunday, yeah.
He freaking stumped me.
Yeah, what did I give you?
It was Minnesota
and
Calgary. And I'm like, I don't know, right?
But at the same time, when we did that practice run, we were trying to like get it. Just obviously, we want to try to get it as soon as possible. But
did you write down San Jose for one of them?
Maybe.
You bastard! Anytime you say San Jose, I immediately think of Pat Falloon. I don't know why. It's always freaking in the back of my head, Pat Falloon. If it's Edmonton and San Jose, I already win because I'm going to say Pat Falloon.
It was it's one thing. Like, say we played a bunch of these like random. Oh, let's name some players. We've done that how many times over the years. This is a different take on it that we've had some fun with. So
do you want to do it where you can ask me first? Now we're gonna have to probably look some of the stuff up just to verify because there's some that I might guess and I'll go I think, but we'll have to look it up. If you know a few of them, you might as well rattle them off. But all you need is 1. Okay. I don't know if we'll do a time limit. If you kind of don't know, I guess we'll move on. But
we're not going to sit an hour on it doing just guessing and whatnot.
Okay, here we go. And we'll probably put some cool music in the background, like I don't know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So round 1, you give me 2 teams.
San Jose.
Fuck.
And Arizona.
San Jose, and I'm going to think Phoenix. San Jose,
Phoenix.
Arizona. Oh, I always think goalies first. Oh, no.
And honestly, I didn't even think about it, but there was one player that came to my mind right away when I said San Jose.
I'm trying to think of
which. And I told you about him. I told you about him too on Sunday, like last week too. You said you always go to Pat Falloon.
You talking Fukafuji?
No.
Oh God, you're gonna stump me on the first one, huh? So the way that I try to do it is I pick one team and I'll go through a lot of players and I'll just try to think of one that also played for the other one. So I'm trying to think like, who do I do first? I think I got to do Arizona, or I guess I'm gonna keep thinking of fucking Pat Falloon. Coyotes and Sharks. So that would also mean that they could have played for the Jets back in the day too.
Sure. Yeah, because it's the franchise.
Oh my God. San Jose. Wow. That's interesting. I'm not off to a good start here. I might have to cut all this out. I'm embarrassed. I gave you a fucking easy one.
Okay, do you want one? Do you want me to tell you the guy?
No. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, what? Who?
Mike Ricci.
Yeah, that guy, he's ugly. I don't want him.
Yeah, that's why I think about him, because he's such an ugly guy.
Yeah, he has no teeth. Looks like, yeah.
He has I
hope he looks better now, but
I'm gonna try to see if there's any pictures of him in 2020.
You know what I need to do? I need to go play NHL 2000 again, because that's how I used to do this. I'm not playing video games like NHL games a lot, so I'm like, who played for both freaking teams?
Oh God, he is an ugly guy now. Still,
is he still?
He's a coach or something to do with San Jose.
Let me look it up.
Just put Mike Ricci 2021.
Oh.
His nose is still out of whack. He looks like Tommy Wiseau.
Wait, Mike Ricci 2021. Nothing popped up.
Go to images on Google.
Yeah. Oh, that's news. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. The second picture.
Ooh.
He looks like Tommy Wiseau.
Is he still? Yeah. Is he still coaching?
I don't know.
He played for Colorado. I had no idea.
I didn't know he played for Philly.
Yeah. He's been on some teams here. Yeah. Now looking this up.
He's been passed around more than
Now we're gonna go down the Mike Ricci rabbit hole and see what's going on here. That's hilarious. Yeah, I think you win that one because I totally I'm blanking. Like I can't even think of like one guy.
He's been an assistant coach since 2019.
Really? Like, how do I even look this up to be like who's on each team? Like if I look at the Coyotes roster in like, let's say, I don't know, 2003, right? Oh my God, I can say Mike Sillinger for most of these. He's been on like 15 teams. I did the wrong thing there.
Yeah, so he played for the Coyotes for 05, 06, and 06, 07.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see like who played for both. Danny Briere, nice. Yeah, so I kind of face planted on that one. Yeah, that was a tough one. Okay, you know what? I'm moving on. I didn't do it good on that one. I'm giving you yours. Red Wings and Islanders.
Red Wings and Islanders. Chris Osgood.
I know. That's who I was thinking too. Okay, cool. Next. Yeah.
Sweet.
Give you a fucking tap-in.
Give
me one that's like, I can't even think of the freaking team. I'm thinking of their like logos and stuff. You knew you were going to screw me with the Sharks because Pat fucking Falloon's in my head.
Of course. Oh, God.
Or like Ray Whitney. It's always Pat Falloon and Ray Whitney every time. Did he play for the Coyotes? No. I did. I could have said Ray Whitney. Yeah, he played for the Coyotes. I swear to God, type it in. I'm taking it. That's a point.
If
he played for I swear to God.
Yeah. Hey, you got it. I'll give you two.
I told you. Okay, perfect.
There you go.
I'm just gonna say Ray Whitney for everyone. It was always Ray Whitney and Pat Falloon. Okay, I got it. I know I said I didn't, but I got it.
No. You came back with it.
Okay,
you came back with it.
So you said Chris Osgood immediately and made me look like an idiot. Okay, next. And I don't even have players for these. I didn't look them up. So I got to think at the same time.
Rangers, Devils.
Rangers and Devils?
Yeah.
That one should be really, really easy, I think, right? Like Bobby Holik, Scott Gomez.
There you go. You got a point.
There's probably another few. I know that Stefan Matteau and his son, one played for the Rangers and one played for the Devils. I don't know. There's a fun fact for you. Yeah. So there's a few for you. Okay.
Yeah,
So
there's your tapping.
Finally. I thought this was gonna be like just a joke where I'm like, oh my god, I can't think of any of them.
And I had no clue. Like I wasn't trying to stump. I just
No.
picked two random teams.
Yeah. Sharks. Okay. Or anything with the Sharks apparently.
No. Anything Sharks. I'm like, all right, Sharks. I'm trying to get one that's a little.
Okay, because I'm gonna have to think of these two. So I got Senators and Flames for you. That's your second one.
Senators and Flames. Ron Tugnut?
He didn't play for the Flames. I'm gonna look it up though.
Or Damian Rhodes?
I don't think either of them played for. Oh my god, dude! This Ron Tugnut picture might be the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Okay. Oh, I need to see this.
Google Ron Tugnut. It's the first picture on HockeyDB. This guy had to ask this site to use that. This is incredible. I'm pulling that up.
Amazing.
That is so funny. He had
okay.
Ron Tugnut. Where is it? Ron Tugnut.
Okay, so
it's the
Ron
first
Tugnut
picture.
Looks like a banker.
Yeah, I mean, what?
From 1980.
He looks like he put his finger in electrical socket. He's got a goatee and just like Harry Potter glasses.
Okay, so if I got hold on, bring that picture back up here.
Okay,
bring that picture back up. If I were to have rounder glasses, and I just
you're Ron Tugnut. Yeah, that's basically all you have to do. Actually, it said like so. You said him,
but he
did not play for Calgary. Damian Rhodes did definitely not play for Calgary. You're going all goalies here, eh?
Yeah,
he played with the Leafs, Senators, Thrashers.
I remember him on the Thrashers. I don't know why I thought he was a Flames goalie. So you said no, send me a bad trade offer. Actually, I'll take a look after. So Ottawa.
What was the site we're using for all-time players? Was it HockeyDB?
I think so.
Yeah, you know what? We did. Okay. I'm gonna click this and okay, so I have Calgary open to look for a guy that also played for the Senators. And you just use your brain and think.
I don't have a brain.
You do. You should just use it.
Pat Falloon.
That one's a tough one too. I'm looking down here going like, I don't see anybody that's really played for them. Or if it is, it's someone that I've never freaking heard of. Lee Stempniak played for 15 teams, right? Nope. Did not play for the Senators, though. Oh, there's Mike Commodore. Okay. This is a tough one. Now we got to actually like, ooh, I got one.
Is it a known player? Like, would I be able to get it, do you think?
Oh, never mind. No, he didn't play for Ottawa. No, God, no, he wouldn't have been able to get it. I would have known it from like playing NHL 2001.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go. Got one. It's a goalie. He's still technically in the league, I think. Yep.
Andrew Hammond?
Yeah.
No, he's not human. He's still.
We can do that. We can do that. That's going to be a rule. I can find one for you if you can't really think of one. And I
can't really think of one.
He's a goalie and he's playing for one of the teams right now. I lied. He's not. I'm an idiot. He's playing for a team with the same colors as one of the teams.
What the fuck's that even mean?
He's a goalie. He's older. He's
older, eh?
Yeah.
Enroth isn't even in the league anymore.
I totally forgot.
He never played.
Brett Hull played for the Flames. I forgot about that.
Yeah, wasn't he drafted by the Flames?
Yes, he was.
A goalie.
Yeah.
And he's still playing with the team with the same colors.
So he's playing. Well, I'm going to
for Carolina or for New Jersey.
No. I was going to say the other one. Like I was going to go orange. Orange goalie.
Mm-hmm. Cam Talbot? No, he's not there. Mike Smith.
You want me to give you the team?
Yeah, sure.
Philly.
Sure. Not Brian Elliott.
He played for Calgary for
He
like
played
a
for
little
Calgary?
bit. For just a little bit, yeah. So there you go. So I kind of stumped you on that one.
Yeah, you definitely got me there.
Yeah, I would have had a tough time with that one too, actually, to be really honest with you.
That was
It's harder. It's harder than I thought. But
that one was
because I'm looking
one.
through these players going like, geez, I gotta.
So
like,
you
click
just
see.
did all-time Flames roster?
I would just type that in. So
Okay, so my third one here.
So number 3 here.
We're gonna go with Philly and Columbus.
Jakub Voracek. I win.
Yes, you do.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I can think of, but Umberger? RJ Umberger played for both.
Oh yeah, Umbergers.
That was the Brian Campbell hit on Umberger where Rick Jenneret just goes, Campbell.
There you go.
Yeah, so there you go. There's a couple. There probably is another one too, but there's got to be a bunch. Your last one is the Dallas Stars and the Coyotes.
Brett Hall.
Good call. How many games did he play as a Coyote?
Didn't he play like only like 10 games or something? Not even like 4
5
games
or something. Yeah, they unretired his dad's.
Yeah,
number.
they unretired his dad's number and all that.
Just so he could do it. Yeah, because technically Bobby Hull is a part of the Arizona Coyotes franchise. Yeah, the Jets. Cool. Okay, so we each got stumped kind of on one.
That was
I couldn't even think of that one. Senators and
Senators Flames.
Yeah, that was an interesting.
That was a good one.
That was good. So a few more little topics, right? So I think we're going to talk about. Let's do the draft lottery last because that one's more fun. So I was going to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the like goalie interference stuff that's going on in the league and some of the coaches' challenges, reviews, things like that, because I know we have like some differing opinions on that type of stuff. Maybe not, but one that there was 2 actually that we were going to go through. The one we can go through first is the other night, the Habs were playing the Senators, and it was 4-4 with like 2 seconds left. Brendan Gallagher scored. He deflected a point shot in. What happens is, and I'm gonna play the audio of it.
Yeah, I have it
to go through
here.
it. Yeah, I'll play
audio.
I'll play the audio. So basically, what happens is this goal gets waved off, and Ottawa ended up scoring in overtime, and then Claude Julien got fired the next day. So I don't know, maybe that would have happened regardless, but I don't think you can fire a coach after a win. But they're just waiting. And so what happened was there was a scrum at the side of the net. Gallagher and who's the defenseman there? Zaitsev. I think it's Zaitsev.
Yeah, it is Zaitsev.
Are right kind of like behind into the side of Matt Murray, who's the Senators goalie. And Murray gets spun around. And it's clearly Gallagher kind of is in there too, but he gets a little bit pushed into Murray. And that's not when the goal goes in.
No,
so Gallagher's down on the ice. So Murray really wasn't.
Gallagher's right behind.
Yeah.
Like
so let me just play this. Let me just play this. So. Murray makes the stop. Weber holds the line. Shoots again, score. So it goes in the first time. Deneau puts it in after.
Yeah.
So watching this.
I'm watching the overhead.
The overhead is where it's.
You can clearly see the reaction of Philip Deneau, the shot.
So shot, save, Murray spins around. It takes like 5 seconds, one-timer, tip, goal.
Yeah. Then I'm seeing a sweet look of Bergevin's sweet lettuce there.
Yeah. So the overhead, that's what I want to see. Okay, here it is. Yeah, so Gallagher hooks. I'm going to pause that for a second. So with like 5 seconds left in the game, because the goal goes in about 2 seconds, Zaitsev and Gallagher go towards Murray. Gallagher's skate gets hooked on the back of Murray's right pad and literally spins him 360 all the way around. He's still in the butterfly. Okay. Gallagher falls on his face, gets right back up. That's when the shot comes in and he deflects it and they score. So I'm looking at.
I'm at 3.4 seconds left in the game right now. I have it paused there. And that's we're about 3.8.
I'm looking at this. Matt Murray is actually tracking the puck as he's spinning around, which is what a goalie is trained to do. He's tracking it. He knows it's going to the point. He is looking at the puck. He's just not getting up. It's almost like he didn't want. So anyway, this goal was called back for goalie interference.
Go to 3.9 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
And then just slowly play it. You see, like you said, Murray, he's still tracking the puck. But he's pushing off with that right pad. It looks like from what I see.
He had a lot of time to set there. He
to
really
get
did.
In place and set for that goal.
So the goal was disallowed, right? So they did a review, and it wasn't. I don't think it was a coach's challenge. I think it's a certain time the officials will do it. Our buddy Lou is a huge Habs fan, and I just looked on his Twitter and he wasn't happy. And Jeff O'Neill has said, bizarre call in Montreal. How long are you going to give the goalie to reset? And Brendan Gallagher, after the game, goes, I get knocked on my ass. I have time to reset. You can't tell me the goalie doesn't have time to reset. I agree. I totally agree. So the goalie interference like that, where he has time to make the save, and it's not like it was a wide open net. He's in the net. He didn't get pulled away from it. It's a contact sport. And also you have to look and okay, Zaitsev kind of had he kind of put him that way.
He's putting him that way.
Gallagher was on his butt. He was out of the play. He got right back up. And I know, goalies have a lot more equipment, but they need to move.
But at that same time, Gallagher's also down on his ass and he's trying to get back up. Meanwhile, Murray, he's still tracking the puck. He, like I said, he's still doing that 360.
To me,
he's still looking at that
lazy.
puck.
It looked lazy on his part that he didn't get back up and set, right? Because I think he knew if I spin around here, it's goalie interference. So it's like there's 5 seconds left. They're going to call it back, which they did.
It's almost like he's trying to sell it a bit more than what it actually is.
I think it's bullshit because now you have this thing where the NHL wants more goals, but then this shit happens. And
then you get something like that. Yeah.
So you're deciding they didn't decide the game here. They kind of did because Montreal had 2 points. That was 5-4, right? I hate the Habs. I'm siding with the Habs right here. This bullshit because they lose in overtime. You still got a point, but it's changed everything. Now your coach is fired. Julian's gone. They've got rid of Kirk Muller. And so that, in my opinion, should have been a goal.
Yeah. I think that's one thing we both agreed. I know when we were looking at this beforehand, you're like, oh, I want to know what you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I do agree with you that it should have been a goal. It's they said Zaitsev is
he didn't do it egregiously. They're both there. Okay.
They're battling. They're battling, but Zaitsev is sort of nudging them towards Murray.
But it is something where he can track it. He can get reset. It didn't, in my opinion, didn't prevent him from making that save. He could have made the save. Get your glove up, man. He's down, he wasn't trying. I think because he knew this is going to get called.
He's going to get that call,
even if it goes in.
He's not gonna.
Right.
The fact that Murray was still able to be square with body out front of the puck. He said he wasn't exactly in front of the net where Gallagher's getting off his ass, getting up to tip it.
Yeah. I don't want to accuse Matt Murray knows. But remember that when Dominic Hasek played for the Senators for 10 seconds, and there was actually a game in Washington where the play was clearly offside, and the puck came out and then they flipped it back in, and he knew it was offside and he just let it go right between his legs into the net. The goal horn went off and he was just skating towards the bench because he knew, this is offside. It feels slightly the same where it's I know this is goalie interference. I'm just not going to try as hard as I should, right? Because if he did and it went in, maybe it's he could have made that save. So
do you not call it or that's
these close tight plays here. I don't understand why they're being looked at. The other one that you have pulled up was a game I was watching the other day, Detroit and Nashville. Philip Forsberg, like obviously the Nashville's best player, had a sick goal. I mean, like comes in on the left side as a right-handed shot. Christian Juice was like sliding. He chips it over his stick, waits. Adam Ernie out of nowhere comes flying in and like blows a tire, runs right into Bernier, the goalie for the Wings. And Forsberg just comes in and tucks it. And I'm like, wow, sick goal.
I could play
they
that
go and
one if you
review
want.
it. Yeah, go ahead and play it if you want.
Okay.
Here for Forsberg, racing the net, Granlund. Forsberg cut back. Forsberg in, and he scores.
Like you said, you described that perfect, like exactly what it is.
With Bernier and his own man Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie slides right into Bernier.
Listen to what Mickey says.
Keep
it going.
If he was knocked in, it's considered goaltender interference.
Right.
No, he wasn't. No, he was not. He was behind the Nashville player. Nice move by Forsberg, who's a natural goal scorer on Juice. And he finishes nicely. I'd say that Forsberg.
So it's still under review right now. They're still looking at it.
You say it's a goal? Yeah.
Yeah, he says it's a goal.
The Nashville player went into the goaltender on his own. There was incidental contact. No goal on the play.
So that's Mickey Redmond, the biggest homer.
That's Detroit
laughing
commentary.
At that call. Yeah, that should have been a goal too. And I'm a Wings fan. I was like, how is that not like? Because they looked at like a chain reaction of like, okay, Ernie like hit Forsberg, who kind of maybe touched Bernier. It was so weird that I was like, if you have to think about it that hard, whatever they called on the ice should be fine. Like if it's a goal, it's a freaking goal. Leave it. Like,
yeah.
Now Nashville still won,
which
didn't change the outcome of the game, but it's just something that, you know, I mean, that should have been a goal. If you want more goals in your league, you shouldn't be disallowing stuff like that, where it's like that rule is in there. If you go through and just absolutely truck stick the goalie, like, or if you do something where it's like, I literally moved him out of the net, or like something egregious. If I like literally touch you, which is what happened, it's way less than the Murray one. Like this Gallagher one, it was a different thing. He turned him all the way around, but he could have made the save. Bernier, I don't think was making that save anyway. It was like he got beat, and then it doesn't help that your own player comes
right into you.
Because you're a fourth line dum-dum. And it's
Luis Mendoza's it. Just comes in there.
Exactly. Yeah, Mighty Ducks. Nice one. And spills all the pop cans.
Yeah.
So that should have been a goal. So again, I hate the Habs. That should have been a goal for Montreal. I love the Red Wings. That should have been a goal for Nashville. That's how you know.
It's like I say, you're not taking a look at, like, you're calling that, you're looking at it as right down the middle. You're not homering. You're not throwing any bias on that, because, like I said, you hate the Habs,
like
you
that
love the
anymore,
Wings.
man. I don't really live and die with this shit anymore. But that just for the game, I mean, this is two examples that are pretty egregious. And the third thing that I kind of wanted to say is about the reviews is offside reviews, man. What are we doing? Like, there hasn't been a lot that I've seen this year, but it's just something that's been on my mind for a while. Like, why are we looking for like that fraction of a millimeter? Oh, was this skate on the blue line? Like, you have linesmen there.
That's so annoying. Like, linesmen are humans, right? Like, that's a part of the game. That's subject. Like I say, if it's that much, it's
like having
to their eye. It's like balls and strikes in baseball.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Like, why don't you just have a machine? Like, just what they do. They have the tracker, right? But I mean, that's part of the game, and there is human error. I mean, I know they're trying to cut down on it, but the reason that they have that in there, again, is for egregious calls, like the Matt Duchene one where he was like 15 feet offside, the Danny Briere one way back in the day where he was like 5 feet offside and they just missed it. Like, I don't know how they did.
Or anytime the Ducks run the flying V, but it's
but if it's something where like, hey, bang bang play, whatever, and most of the time, like, you can see there's been goals that get called back where they go in. Yeah, was it offside? Yeah, they're looking at it. It was okay. It was an inch and a half offside. And then like the play goes on in their end for 30 seconds and then they score. And then it gets called back. Oh, we got an offside challenge.
Yeah, like that just ruins any momentum of the game. It's
what it should be, in my opinion. If there's an offside, and this would be where the linesman would have to be trained or the referee. So all four of them, right? Anybody wearing the stripes, or maybe someone up in the boot, like a linesman that's not like that's watching the game.
Yeah.
Where they watch it and they're like, "Oh, that was bad. Like that was clearly offside.
And
I'm
just
calling
transmit
this
it
one."
down. Then
Like, hey, that was offside. Yeah, that's offside. Call it, right? I think for the little ticky tack shit, if you have to look at it for more than 10 seconds,
then there's
look
no
at it.
definitive.
Exactly. Same thing with the goalie type stuff. I think it kills the momentum of the game. Like, again, this is the third time I've said it. They want more goals, but it's kind of like they don't because they're not doing the same thing. They're saying one thing with doing another.
You know what I just thought? Just because you said it ruins momentum, you're taking all these extra timeouts. It almost comes full circle to coming back to outdoor games. Same thing where if you're taking more than X amount of time to review a call, it's almost the same thing as taking all these extra timeouts to shovel ice in an outdoor game.
And the thing too,
ruins
like
momentum.
Being a Wings fan and loving Thomas Holmstrom, he wouldn't be able to play now. I mean, there were so many calls back then. There were so many calls back then too that we got screwed on. Where it's like he's not even doing anything. He's just in the way of the goal. He's screening the guy. Like
he made us. He had his own area in front of the net.
It's like a reputation call. But that being said, that's the type of stuff that these guys, the goalies shouldn't be immune to a little bit of contact. Stand your ground. You're 6'5". Yeah. Like fucking smack them back. I don't know. It's a contact sport. I don't think you should be able to crush them and get them out of the way. But like, just if you get touched in the skate, like, come on, man. It's like you're taking a dive. It's like in basketball, you take a dive.
Pull a brodeur. Like when Sean Avery was doing the thing.
Yeah, give him a whack in the balls.
Gave him a whack. And
so, yeah.
Just Fatso there's just standing there. And
yeah. So the offside thing, I think that's a little bit much too. Another thing that I feel like I almost want to rant about, and this is something where, again, I don't know what your thoughts about this are.
I don't know what you're going to be talking about, so I'd bring it on.
Slashing penalties, where if a stick breaks, it's an automatic slashing penalty. What do you think about those?
Okay, yeah. So I remember we were thought a little bit about it, and you want to know my thoughts. I think if it's it shouldn't be an automatic penalty.
That's how it feels, though. Like if it happens, it's like, oh, like the player's like, what the hell, you know?
If I'm coming around and trying to make a defensive, say you got a stride on me, and I'm trying to skate up or whatever, or if I'm making a play for the puck or trying to get the puck, and I'm not touching you, and I'm not interfering like necessarily on the play or then continue. If my stick breaks or your stick breaks, as I'm just going around trying to grab.
Well, it would be like if you're trying to get the puck from me, and you kind of go, stick over top, and hit mine, and mine explodes. You get a slashing penalty.
I don't think it shouldn't necessarily be a slash. If there's so many elements that come into that, right? Like it's okay. You got your force and your mathematics.
Sure.
I'm not no math person.
So here's what happens.
It should be. I don't think it should be.
There's three things that happen with that type of play. So when I was coaching, we always taught like stick on puck, body on body, which means, try to get it first, but then you can check.
Yeah.
But you're trying to go stick on stick as well, right? So, okay, I'm going to look at it a different way now. I'm going to ask you this. So I was talking about going over top and hitting someone. What if you stick lift someone, right? Stick lift, take the puck. You go like that, their stick shatters.
No.
Is it a slash?
No.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be.
Okay, so you're on my team.
No, yeah, I agree.
Right now,
it should not be a penalty for that.
Okay. What if? So here's the thing that I go, if this makes no sense. If I go stick on stick over top and I hit the guy's stick hard and it doesn't break, it's usually not a penalty.
Yeah.
If they drop their stick or it breaks, it's a slash. I don't think that should be a thing. I think you should be able to absolutely, if you want to go as heavy as you want on someone's stick, you should be able to. Hold on to your stick, and honestly, you would never see that back in the day when they were using wood sticks, right? That wouldn't happen because it never did, because these sticks nowadays, they just explode. So, that shouldn't be a penalty. I think it's one of those things where it's like, anytime it happens, I'm like, oh man, like I'm gonna snap because I'm thinking.
You sort of see it too. As soon as a guy is coming down on top, stick on stick, the offensive player, usually if it's happening, you couldn't somewhat see it ahead of time. They already have the hand on the one, like they already drop one hand on the stick and they're ready just to toss it and throw up their hands like, hey, what the hell?
Yeah. And so I don't know exactly specifically what the rules are. And I'm sure that the referees are they enforcing the proper way. It doesn't mean that it's right.
Doesn't mean,
you know what I mean? So I think it's something that slashing to me is if you hit the person's body. If I slash you in the shins, I pull a Lou and I hit you in the back of the leg, or I try to take you stick on stick and I get you right in the hand. That's a slash. But
exactly. But if you're going stick on stick, I don't think that should be necessarily be a slash.
Especially if the stick breaks. Because if you're gonna call it when the stick breaks, you better call it when it doesn't. If you're just going stick on stick, but that's all the time. How are you supposed to check somebody? That's the way that you stick check,
sticks becoming lighter, there's less material.
They're not as
they're only gonna explode. Like I said, when they were wooden sticks and the people are using tree branches, that wasn't
not gonna happen, right? Anyway, I just want to talk about that stuff. The last thing that we really want to talk about, right, was some draft lottery stuff.
Yeah,
me and you are nerds for that stuff.
Yeah, you were mentioning some draft, like you found something out there. There's rumors of it changing and a couple different things, and you didn't really tell me too much because you wanted to get an exact some of the stuff.
I wanted to see what you were.
We make a pre sheet thing and whatnot, but this is something that I'm coming in blind on. So
okay, so I'm looking at it's my NHL draft, so I'm just kind of looking at like results and stuff. But so the draft lottery, if we go back to, I think it was, what was the years where like Edmonton was getting all the first overall picks?
Like the last 20 years.
It was like 2000 and when was the Nuge drafted? 2009 or something? 2010, I think.
Nuge, wasn't Hall drafted a year before? Or was, because Nuge was 2011.
Okay, 2010. Okay. So in 2010, Taylor Hall goes first overall, Edmonton Oilers. 2011, I think it's
Nuge.
The Nuge. 2012 was Yakupov.
12 was Yaks.
Okay.
13 was McKinnon.
Yeah. And then they got McDavid first. So they had four.
Ekblad, and then
they had four first overall picks. The reason that the NHL changed the draft lottery system is before there was one lottery ball picked, right? Any team that wasn't in the playoffs, there was if you won the lottery, let's say that you're the 10th last team, right? If you won the draft lottery, you'd move up 3 spots. Or I think it was 3 or 4, right? So you go to number 6. And the teams that would drop would be from like 6, 7, 8, 9. So back then, the lottery odds for a last place team getting first overall was like 75. It was like 80%. Like it was going to happen. And it happened every single time Edmonton was last because someone else won the draft lottery and moved up only a few spots. The only way that they would lose is if the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th team won the draft lottery. Yeah. And they would only drop to number 2, right? So now they go, well, wait, we don't want the same team getting the first overall pick every single year. Let's put in this new system, which is actually, it wasn't even that. It was anybody could win the top pick. Then they did the 3 lottery balls for number 1, 2, and 3. They had a lottery for the first 3. Now, coming at it from a Red Wings fan perspective, does it suck that like we've been pooped for like 3 years and we've kind of got boned? Like I think, and I can't really look this up, but I know for a fact that in those years, Detroit has actually dropped the most lottery spots out of any team that's been in the lottery, which is like, it's something like 12 spots. Like they drop 3 or 4 positions.
I saw a chart on something like that after this past year's draft. And I remember as soon as they said Detroit was picking whatever 7th or whatever you had, this past
4th.
year.
They were last in the league and they picked 4th.
Yeah. You're supposed to have the number 1 pick or whatever, and then you drop the 4th. As soon as I saw that, I'm texting you, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, but
at the same time, I know it's absolute bullshit.
I knew it was going to happen, but in that draft, I went, they're going to get someone really, really good anyway. And looking at drafts in the past, it's never a for sure thing unless it's a McDavid. Yeah. And like Lafreniere, I mean, he's going to be good, but he's not.
Or this year, he's not.
Yeah, he might be really good. I mean, but
you
look at teams like
Yakupov.
Colorado got Cale Makar 4th overall. Elias Pettersson went 5th. He should have probably been one of the top picks. Like that year, Nolan Patrick and Nico Hischier went 1-2. or the other way around. But
yeah,
like, so,
but
in terms of the lottery was in there, and it's in there to prevent tanking. And if we want to get into like draft lottery talk, we always have to talk about tanking, because that's the reason that this is in there. I am on the opinion pretty hardcore of no player or coach is ever going to tank. And you know why? Like, would you agree with that or no?
I'd agree. It's
okay.
You know what? Why would you intentionally lose as a player? You're like, you want to win. You don't want to lose. You're playing your contract. Same with the coach. You don't want to be that.
You want to
coach
get your
with a losing
points.
record.
You want
to have that good reputation as a coach that can win.
And you want to stay in the show. You want to play, right? So Absolutely. Why would I, as a player, play worse?
Deliberately play worse
to get another kid to come in and potentially replace me? Makes no sense. Same with a coach. Now, a manager, a GM, yes,
that's different.
They can do things where they're putting guys in the lineup where, like, ooh, yeah, he probably shouldn't be in there, but like what they were saying right now is they were looking at different ways to change the draft lottery, and in that was they were talking about the Wings and how like they were the worst team by like 30 points. Like they shouldn't be picking fourth. So they wanted to try and figure out a way to like change it. But like, yeah, Detroit sucked. Like they were horrendously bad.
Yeah.
The thing is, they weren't trying to lose. Like Ken Holland built that team thinking they were going to make the playoff. Like that's how like these guys are trying to make the best team. But you know, now Yzerman's in there. That was his first year, was last year.
Yep.
They weren't tanking. And that's something that they were even saying is, do you really think Detroit tanked the year? Because they didn't. Like They are just inherently terrible. They were so good for so long that, and you know what? Ken Holland didn't draft well in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Like there's a lot of picks where I'm like, these guys didn't pan out.
Yeah.
There are some guys that are the nucleus of the team now, but they don't have like a top guy. I love Dylan Larkin, but he's a second line center.
He's not a top player.
You know, there's guys. So anyway, they weren't tanking, and I can actually argue that Yzerman tried to make the team better. Like he made some trades, some waivers, like tried to do things in a way that like, I'm going to trade Delarose for Robbie Fabry, and it worked out. Oh, I'm going to try and pick up Brendan Perlini. That one didn't work out, but I'm going to do some waiver claims. He's trying to like, hey, like, so we're not awful, but they were.
Even this year, like it's something that
he got rid of all of his bad guys. He got rid of Howard. He got rid of Daly, Erickson, Abdelkader. He bought him out, which I didn't think he'd do that. And even this year, he's waived Nielsen. They've scratched Filppula. De Keyser's been a healthy scratch. Their highest paid defenseman. Like, and he brought in guys on cheap contracts like Bobby Ryan, Stetcher, and Christian Juice are the best two defensemen. A free agent signing and a waiver claim. Grice hasn't really been getting a lot of help, but he's been decent.
You got Mark Stahl there and that trade, but
I don't like him. And they might even get a pick for him. And like he did that to get a second round pick. He took that bad contract.
That was the reason he took that.
Now
he said the pick, but
does Yzerman know they're going to be bottom 5? Yeah, he does. But
he's a player. He's a GM that was a player. He has that.
Yeah,
he's not a guy to tank.
No. So now going back to the draft lottery. Now again, I'm saying tanking is not a thing. What tanking is when there was a game with Arizona and Buffalo. I forget what year it was. It was the Eichel draft.
Yeah, it was.
There was a game where both teams were clearly trying to lose. Yeah. Like they dressed like the worst lineup, like just horrible.
Like they bring up their ECHL team pretty much.
It was bad. They were both playing their backup goalies. Like the home team was cheering when, like, I think it was in Buffalo. Like Buffalo fans were cheering when Arizona scored. They want to avoid that. I get that. It is embarrassing. Like that shouldn't be a thing. But there's different things. So what they were saying is their new or they were kind of thinking of it is that if you have a top 3 pick, let's say this year,
okay,
you can't have a top 3 pick the year after. You're locked out of the top 3, no matter how bad you do. And they were seeing even if you get the first pick, let's say. But if we just kind of go extreme and say the top 3, right? And you go, okay, you picked number 2 this year, you can't be in the top 3 next year. The highest you can be is 4. So if you win the lottery, you would go to 4 or something. I don't know what the specifics would be. What do you think about all that stuff?
I know I like it in the fact that it sort of prevents that. Like I said, I don't think there's a coach or a player would willingly tank. You may have some GMs, like I said, in that Buffalo, Arizona situation where they're going to bring up guys that are AHLers or very much minor league guys.
Where it was pretty obvious.
Yeah. If you look at this year, like the bottom 3 teams, Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa, say right, Ottawa's the worst, then Detroit, then Buffalo. If you go, okay, Ottawa gets the first pick this year.
Okay.
You look at that team.
Well, also Seattle's in the draft too.
Yeah. So. Okay, but you see, say Ottawa gets the number 1 pick.
Okay.
Ottawa is such a young, like their core guys are young. They're not a team that's going to be.
They're not going to be good the next year either.
No. So, should they have a chance at that number 1 seed again? I get where they should, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I know before I'm like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Well, not really before, like when you sort of mentioned a little bit, you didn't really get my genuine thoughts on it or my reaction, but I get what they're trying to do with that. But looking at it now, especially like, cause I'm looking at the NHL state, like the whole league standings right now. And I'm looking at these
it's the same teams as last year.
It's Ottawa. They're such a young team. Detroit, they're not going to be competitive for years.
Yeah.
You have like the bottom 5 right now are Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, Anaheim, Nashville. Yeah. Anaheim, they're not really necessary. They're in a weird spot.
They're rebuilding technically. I think they are. Yeah. I don't think they're that, they're in the middle. They haven't figured it out yet. It's like, are you rebuilding or not?
Buffalo is for me is a weird one because you got guys, they're brought in Taylor Hall on a 1-year deal to see how he would be Jack Eichel,
But this is the thing. They brought in a guy thinking they were going to be really good, and they're not. So are they tanking? They're not. They're just not good.
They're just not good. So it's hard to say.
Are any of these teams tanking right now?
No.
They're not. They're
just not good.
You look at Ottawa. They blew it up. They made the finals the 1 year and then just went absolute south.
Absolutely.
Detroit has just been bad for a while because they were good for so long.
They're going into they're
LA, same thing. They had what, 2 cups?
LA's 18th right now in the league.
Oh, this isn't updated. Oh, I'm looking at something that wasn't updated for a while. And anyway, looking at
Nashville's in that bottom 5, and San Jose is that
I thought they'd
6.
be okay, but yeah. So here's my thoughts on that.
It's hard to say whether. I don't think I'm back and forth on it. I do see what they're trying to do.
I'm gonna sway you here.
I do see what they're trying to do, but I think there's still a better way they could go about it.
And I'm going to tell you what it is. So, and if you don't like it, tell me. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So here's the reason why this locking you out of the next year isn't the way to do it. Because of what I just said. No one's actively like tanking. They're not losing on purpose. They're just not good teams. Now, the draft is where you get a chance to turn it around, because right now, nobody that's a free agent, that's a top guy, is going to look at Ottawa, Detroit, Seattle, whatever,
Buffalo
as a destination. They're not going to go there. Like, unless they offer them the farm, but they're rebuilding. Like, Detroit's not going to sign anyone for another few years. Like, until they're showing signs of like, we're close to the playoffs, we need another guy, let's go hard at somebody. You're not going to get like when they got Marian Hossa. Why do you think Marian Hossa went there in 2009? Because they won. He wants to win. Yeah. So it's a reason why he went to Chicago the year after, and then he won it. Like, they're chasing a championship. They're not going to go to a bottom feeder just because of the money. Like, they'll give up a mil or two to go to a good team, right? I'm sure he could have. Edmonton, the same year in 2009, offered him this crazy contract, and he's like, nah. Like, I'm going to go try to win. I don't want to play.
It's the reason why you got a guy like Thornton who went to Toronto, overstaying in San Jose.
Yeah, but exactly. So locking a team out of the year after, it
hinders their progress.
It hinders their progress, and it makes teams that shouldn't be getting that top pick get it. this whole thing with the pandemic and like, oh, they had a playoff team, like the Rangers.
Yeah, that was
for a playoff team. Like they don't need the help. Now, I mean, are they a top tier team? No, but are they closer to the middle? Yeah, but are they closer to the middle than these bottom feeders? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who needs the top pick more, right? You need to, you look at it in a term of like football, baseball, don't have a lottery. If you're bad, go for it. If you think that's a way to go for it and get the top pick and you think that's going to help you, go for it. It's never a for sure thing.
And baseball's the weirdest one too.
Baseball is a weird one too.
It's the hardest.
Because they still have to wait. Those first overalls are going to be four years down the line.
4 or 5 years down the line there. And
with this, it makes no sense because I'm looking at this year's draft and they're looking at it in terms of like, this isn't like the cream of the crop class because there's really not a number one.
Bonafide. Yeah.
There's a bunch of okay guys, and I'm sure some of these guys will be studs. Who knows? But people want for the next year because that's the Shane Wright draft, and there's a few other guys too, and I forget their names. Brad Lambert, the Finland guy, and then there's a French sounding guy. I forget his name. Those three guys, they said if they're in a different draft class, those three are going top. They're going number one. So even if you're picking number 3, you're getting a number 1 talent, is what they're saying. So why would I want a top 3 pick this year if I'm the Wings? I want it next year. So if I'm getting locked out, I want to lose the lottery this year.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. So like, I don't think locking it out is the way to do it. Do you have
a way how to, that's what I want to know. What would you do to fix
and I want to see if you agree with this.
Because I agree right now, the way they have it is absolutely fucked.
The way they do it now, it's fucked.
There's no way.
They would fuck it up even more. They'd fuck it even more because they'd keep this 3 lottery system and they'd add in the lockout thing for the year after, which would make it even worse in my opinion. I think it would be a joke. So my idea is you still have, if you want 3 lottery picks, that's fine. We'll keep that. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a tiered lottery. So you have, let's just say, I know there's more than 15, but 15 teams that didn't make it. You have your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, 5 teams each. Okay. So if you're in the top tier, let's say you're the bottom 5 teams. So actually, let me pull up the standings here real quick. And
Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, Anaheim, Nashville.
Okay. So
take out Nashville, and Seattle.
Yeah. I probably won't even do that just because, but I want to see league. Okay. Yeah. So Ottawa, like you said, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, Anaheim, Nashville. You have 1 lottery ball for all of those guys. And if you want to weight it differently because you're the top team, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, make it so it's kind of more even, right? So it's not stacked in one person's favor. But that's the first pick is just those 5 teams. So let's say Buffalo wins. They go to number 1. Detroit and Ottawa move down 1. That's it. So you can only move down 1 spot. Now, your second lottery is teams 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that would be San Jose, Dallas, New Jersey,
New York, Vancouver.
Okay. They do a lottery pick for that one. Vancouver wins it. They move to pick 6. Every other team moves down 1. Now we do the next tier, which is the tier 3.
So Calgary, Columbus, Arizona, LA, Pittsburgh.
Right. Let's say that Columbus wins. Well, they just move to where Calgary was.
They just move up 1.
They move up 1. So you can only go to the top of your tier. So it's impossible for a team that's not in the bottom 5 of the league to get the first pick. It's only the bottom 5. But you can still move up if you're in the 6 to 10 and 10
So there's
to
no
15.
way that Pittsburgh, who is 17th in the league, can get that first.
They shouldn't get it. They shouldn't
they shouldn't.
So that's a way to lock them out. But you can also move up. So there's still a lottery. You can still move up, but you shouldn't be moving up.
So they can move
15 spots
from 17 to 21, or
right?
From 21 to whatever it is.
And this way, it makes sure that if you do get leapfrogged, you're only moving down 1. Because, like, let's say last year that this happened, right? If New York wins, they're not moving up to 1. They're moving up to like 6.
Yeah.
You know, if Detroit's the last place team by 30 points and Ottawa wins the first pick, Detroit's picking 2nd. Like, so you're not moving down 1 to 4. You shouldn't be moving. Yeah. If you're going to move down 1, that's fine. Right. Sometimes that's the difference, but I think that's a lot more fair in a tiered lottery system where you're not guaranteed the first pick. You have a high shot at it, but it's another thing where the teams that are close to the playoffs should not be getting a top 3 pick. It's asinine.
Agree. And I know what, now that like you've explained your tiering system and how it works, I remember once the draft happened or whenever we were just shooting a bunch, I think we were with the boys or whatever. And after the draft and you sort of mentioned a tier, so you never really explained it. Going into that, like I said, if you do a 3-tier, 5 in each, you can only drop like I said,
one spot.
Spot. That makes it that is interesting because like you look right now, like at those bottom 5 teams, the Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit,
they're just not good
Nashville.
teams. They're not tanking. They're just not that good.
No one's gonna. If you're tanking, you're a bitch.
Dallas right now. Does Dallas? I mean, are they that bad? No. Sagan's out.
No.
They like, but
it's the injury bug there. If you have,
do they need the top pick? They don't. They don't. They're actually not a bad team. They're just not having a good season, right? But that was kind of, and they also played way less games too. So they're probably technically.
I say
higher than
Vancouver, my team. They're 22nd. They're playing like absolute ass right now. Do they deserve the first? Do they need a first pick? No.
They played 24 games as well. So they're actually, if you look at their point, if you go point percentage, that's actually, let's click that and then you'll see the difference, right? Point percentage, Vancouver's third last.
But
so they're in the bottom 3 of the league right now.
I think
that's what I've been looking at more because that actually makes more sense because they played more games, technically have more points, but
so yeah, if we go then percentage, bottom 3.
They're just bad, man. I mean, they're playing like ass.
I thought they were gonna have a decent year. I thought they were gonna be competing for a playoff spot near the maybe top 3 in the, especially with the way the divisions are this year. I think obviously we lost some. The big thing that I was worried about was the goaltending thing, which I thought Holtby would be an upgrade over Markstrom.
Hasn't been.
No. Demko's been playing pretty decent, but then obviously the big loss is Tyler Toffoli. It is what it is.
That was kind of what I was talking about with the lottery. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. I'm sure the Wings will get fucked somehow. That's just how it goes.
Looking at the way you've explained it, and your idea there, your idea on how to fix it, it makes sense. I would be interested to see if the NHL would ever do something like that.
One way that some people have said, and I forget what they call this, but one way that I absolutely do not agree with is there was an idea, once you get eliminated from playoff contention, there's new standings for the people that are outside of playoff contention, so that if you get the most points, you get the top pick. I'm like, so wait a minute. So a shit team is not going to win. Like Detroit last year, they would have been picking 10th because they're just horrible.
Sense.
So when they said, I heard that one and I'm like, they're already trying. They just suck, dude. Like you're not going to incentivize a player to play better because of a better draft pick. It comes back down to the tanking thing. That's complete opposite of tanking. It's like, hey, here's your incentive is this number 1 overall pick, which will maybe knock a player off your team. Like I'm not playing.
If you're a guy that's a third or fourth liner, like you've made you've made it up to the show for the year. You made the cut. You don't want to necessarily play for that number 1 pick because that guy's going to come in and you're playing. Like I said, I don't think when it comes down to it, the big thing you asked when we started talking draft and all that, you asked, do I think coaches and players intentionally tank? No. These are professional athletes, right?
There's a pride.
Playing for, that's your pride. You're playing for if you're on an expiring deal, you're playing for a contract. If you're a coach, you're playing for your job. Like you're coaching for your job.
So that was just my opinion on it. So we got through a lot of stuff there, but
we went a little bit off topic on a few things, but you know what? It's a nice talk today.
Don't care.
Don't care.
Yeah. So I mean, next time I hope I don't get like stumped so bad with the teams. I couldn't believe that, man. Like,
I think you got me the worst today. You got me the worst.
The Sharks are the crutch for me. I don't know, man. For some reason, every time I hear that, I'm just like, no, I can't think of anybody. So anyway,
I'll do one that's I'll get Pat Floon on one there for you.
Yeah, just like look up his stuff and just put all his teams, and I'll be golden. I don't know why, but
Pavloon.
Yeah. Well, until the
I don't think so.
Not really, but until the next time that we chat, we'll
which will probably be shortly. But
we love doing it. So like, hey, whatever we have on our mind, we'll be chatting about. We've been talking to a few people about potentially coming on as a guest. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see if we can get that going. Yeah. So anyway, episode
healthyscratch.ca. Go check it out there. Check it out Facebook, Twitter, YouTube's.
Yeah, we don't have anything on TikTok yet, but I got to figure that all out.
I still can't log in on it, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're gonna be famous YouTuber TikTokers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let us know what you think about it, and go from there. So let me know what you think about it when you listen to it on Monday.
Oh, and Brian, you let me know what you think about it when you listen to it on Monday.
I shall.
Healthy Scratch.
Take it easy. Cheers.